Welcome to a new episode of Talk Too Late. This is Game Too Late. I'm the host of the Talk Too Late show. This is our early March episode, and I'm joined as usual by my two amazing guests. The first of which I'm going to introduce is HeadacheMik.
Hi guys, my name is Mick and I am HeadacheMik also.
Yeah,
I don't know how to phrase that.
No, that's fine. And my other guest is Prosil.
Hey guys, I'm Prosil there.
As you probably already know, these two guests have been already with us for a little while. You can check out our previous episodes on YouTube, but most importantly, they're also in podcast form, and you can check them out pretty much on the usual podcast platforms, but most likely it's going to be Apple Podcast or Spotify, which everybody seems to use these days because, you know, we're in touch with the young kids. We're also cool. And the Talk Too Late show is the show in which we review games 2 years after their release, and we also look at gaming news 2 years later, and we throw out there our ideas and our opinions and the opinions of our two amazing guests. So we're ready to begin, guys, right?
Yeah.
But before we do that, what's up with you guys? How have we been? How are you, Mick?
I'm fine. I've recovered from a 2 weeks-ish absence from the world. And I haven't streamed for 2 weeks. This is like...
Slightly suspicious timing there to be healed.
Yes.
Yeah,
It is. But I'm okay. It was just a normal man flu. Mm-hmm. And all my family had huge flu all over the place. We're fine.
So did you guys quarantine yourself?
A little bit.
Okay, good. I think your neighbors are happy about that.
Yeah, but now I'm back in live and in streaming, so check me out if you can.
Good, glad to have you back in live and in streaming. How are you, Prosil?
I'm very good, thank you. I've been streaming and playing like crazy in these days. So
yeah, I've been checking out your streams recently. You've been going through a lot. We're actually gonna talk about one of the games that you've been streaming more recently as part of our episode and as part of our articles and news in our later sections. But the first section of the show is actually a quick look at the schedule of games released this time of the year 2 years ago. So we're looking at March, the first 2 weeks of March in 2018, and here they are. We're looking at the 2nd of March, 6th of March, 7th of March if you're looking this on YouTube. But yeah, we're going through this 2 weeks of releases, trying to talk over the main talking points. But frankly, this episode is kind of a light one on this side because there aren't many new important titles that have come out. So I was really looking through it, and there is like Bravo Team, which is a VR game, DJ Max Respect, which is a rhythm game, fine. There is like Fear Effect Sedna. I don't know if you guys remember Fear Effect.
It's a name that I heard.
Yeah, Fear Effect is this one. Do you guys remember this cartoonish look of a game that used to run on PS1? It was called Fear Effect and Fear Effect 2, I think. I don't know if you guys played it ever, the PS1 games.
Yes, I did play them.
So they did a sequel, but it's not really a sequel. It's a sort of
remake.
So it's been licensed. They took the license from Square Enix, right? But what they try to do with it is more like a third-person shooter, which I don't think was really anything like the series. But anyway, it's very different, I guess, from the original Fear Effect. And,
the original was the first one at least was quite good, but the second one I didn't complete it.
Yeah. The developer is called Sashi, and it's basically an indie isometric developed by this little French studio. It's a really kind of a niche thing, and it was funded initially by with a Kickstarter campaign. And
I have no idea what you're talking about. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, good. And in terms of other games, there is the Windows PC version of Final Fantasy 15, and I'm gonna stop it right there, and we're gonna come back to this title. But quickly, let me just get everything else out of the way. Let me go through the rest of the calendar. We've got Scribble Notes. It's basically it's a party game for Switch and other consoles. We got T2L. I don't know what these things are really. These games are so not very relevant that they don't even have a Wikipedia page. So that's the sort of releases that we've seen on the first part of March. But we do have Devil May Cry HD Collection, and I do have a confession to make.
You have never played any Devil May Cry.
You read my brain. I've never played a Devil May Cry. I don't even know.
Way.
Boo.
You know, if I read DMC, to me it stands for Detroit Metal City, which is an anime about this is really silly anime about this.
I have the manga about it.
It's a really cool you've read the manga, cool. So the anime is kind of enjoyable. I don't know if it stands better or worse than the anime, but let's leave it aside. The anime of Detroit Metal City is about this cool guy that wants to write pop music, but the only way for him to be noticed is through some shenanigans as part of a metal satanist band. But inside he's a pop lover. And anyway, it's a really funny, strange Japanese humor kind of comedy. But there you go. Devil May Cry. Should I have any interest this day and age about Devil May Cry? And consider that I do have a sort of an ambivalent relationship with hack and slash and that sort of stuff. Because I may like stuff like, for example, I love Castlevania, Lords of the Shadow. But usually I don't really like hacking and slashing away like in Musou games and stuff.
Castlevania is not really hack and slash, huh?
Okay.
The thing with Devil May Cry, I believe it is, I'm talking the first one because it's probably for me the most iconic one because it's, you know, what happened first. I think that you might like the first one because it's from Kamiya and it kind of brings some PS1 Resident Evil charm to it. You know, it's not the same thing at all, but there is, you know, that school of thoughts. There's something there you might enjoy besides the simple hack and slash. But I would suggest you to try the first one at least.
So maybe I could go back to this HD collection.
Yeah, and don't play the second one because you don't need to, and then play the third one and you will love it a lot.
All right.
Just don't play the second one, please.
Okay.
Don't.
This is the release timeline that we're looking at. So there was already a Devil May Cry HD collection for PS3.
Yeah.
But they've redone it for PS4, Xbox, and was it PC? Yes, and PC. Yep. So there you go.
This game kind of came around when after the DMC remake, you know, the horrible thing they did, the Ninja Theory did, and this was kind of like the first spark into the direction of, oh, okay, we care about the fans, so we're gonna do good to the fans. And then, you know, they did also Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, and then they did Devil May Cry 5, which is, you know, just
came out last year. Did you like it? Did you play it? We're gonna talk about that, I suppose, but that's good. Okay, so the Devil May Cry brand, is it alive and kicking? Okay, still relevant, I guess. Right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, then I guess it's worth my time. Moving forward, we've got QB2, which is a physics-based puzzle little game. I've seen this, but I've never really paid much attention to it. And then we've got some
other. It's a nice game, that one, huh?
QB2?
Yeah, I played it. It's a nice game.
What is it like?
It's a puzzle game, like I would say like Portal, but Portal fans will kill me if I say that. Portal is one of those games that is untouchable now. I think it's very close to Portal. You trap inside this cube, and then you find out the reason why. But some of the riddles they are quite interesting. So you can finish the game in a day. So
all right.
Same as Portal. Like if you speed them through, you can finish them in a couple of hours. Not couple, but 3-4 hours.
I mean, I don't want to...
Yeah, seems very Portal-y.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of cool.
It's nice. Looks nice.
It is. Like I would definitely recommend you check this game out.
Does it have an amazing story like Portal does, or is more?
No, it's more straightforward. Portal is more like the ending is more like twisted. At least the second one. I played the second one.
Mm-hmm. All right. So that's our little venture inside the story of Cube 2. That's really good, and that pretty much wraps up all the releases of the first half of March. That's truly so. There is Surviving Mars, a little simulation strategy game set on Mars, which is some sort of cooler twist on city building, SimCity, Tropico kind of things. I love this kind of games, but I don't think this game has made a lot of waves. Even though I like this sort of stuff, I haven't really learned about it very much. But we're gonna come back in 2 weeks for the second part of March, which opens up strong with Burnout Paradise Remastered.
There is a lot of stuff,
Assassin's Creed Remastered. There's gonna be Attack on Titan, for those of you who like it. There's gonna be Valkyrie Chronicles. There's gonna be A Way Out, but most importantly, there's gonna be Detective Pikachu. So,
my God.
No.
Oh my God. There's Ni no Kuni.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of talking points.
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, we can talk about
that we are keeping in store for the next episode, but we're gonna focus on wrapping up this episode, talking about this game that came out on the 6th of March, which is most likely the bigger release of these 2 weeks, and it is the PC version and the slightly enhanced version of Final Fantasy 15. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can really add to this conversation on this note is that I was young and I was a kid when I started dreaming about Final Fantasy 15, because I do remember reading on newspaper that Final Fantasy, on printed newspaper, that Final Fantasy 15 had started developer. I'm not even kidding. Like it was about the time when Final Fantasy 12 was coming out.
I think I had hair. I'm not sure about it, but I think I had hair.
I'm sure I did, but and the game is sort of still in completion. But I'm gonna ask you, Mick, first to talk about it, because I know that Prosil has played it, but I know that you started it too. So just a second. So let me ask you, Mick, first, what you thought about Final Fantasy 15. Did you play it on PC? Did you play this very version?
Yes, because I didn't have a console back then when this came out. And I played it on PC, and it was surprisingly a very good porting, which, from a very Japanese game like that, it doesn't happen that often.
Indeed, I did find this article from Kotaku from the 6th of March highlighting the fact that it did look damn nice on PC.
Surprisingly, it was like flawless and smooth also. It felt very light on the hardware too, which is important. I don't play Final Fantasy. I played only like a couple of Final Fantasies in my life. I've never finished one. I'm not a Final Fantasy player, nor a hater of the genre. I really like this one though. I really liked it, and it felt really fresh and really, a game for youngsters like me that have never played any of the old games. But I can say that after 5-10 hours, I kind of dropped it because it's not my kind of game.
Didn't you feel like part of a boy band? Didn't you like that?
I love that. Actually, surprisingly, I felt really connected with the characters, and I really felt like being surrounded by my bros, which is nice.
Nice.
But then, it's fine. It's not for me. It's not for me.
Okay.
Probably I played something else.
Did you try the first-person mode? Because this game, the PC version, came out with an optional, sort of hidden, because you had to press like 2 buttons at the same time to open it. It had a first-person mode, which apparently was pretty cool. I mean, it's good for virtual tourism, which I'm big about. But it wasn't great for fighting, and that's what was used to be reported. But you didn't try it.
No, I haven't. I didn't know about it. Also,
I can imagine how this game would actually be nice in first-person mode. And I don't think this ever came out on the PS4 version of the game. The PS4 version, which is probably what Prosil has tried out.
Yeah. So you want to hear about the comments of the game or the first person mode?
Did you try the first person mode?
No, I...
Hold on, I can't hear you.
Mode. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yes,
yes, you're back.
Okay. Sorry. So I don't remember playing this in first person mode. I played it when it was just released. So basically on release date. The game to me, how can I say without spoilers? The game is a good game until you realize that you cannot die.
Yeah,
and
kind of on autopilot.
It's a kind of you cannot die. Period. It's easier to go back and flee from a battle rather than losing it. And I think I died a couple of times in the whole game at the beginning, but once you got the ability to heal, you cannot die. The game is still enjoyable. The game has this car and you can go around this world, and it's quite charming. Like, I have to say that the game is quite charming. When you get the summonings, is like, it's amazing. But then at one point there is like a time gap, and then you reach the end of the game without realizing. And once the game is completed, like, the score of the game for me, it's a 6 out of 10, but try to be kind. So it's like 6 out of 10 trying to be kind.
Yeah. So the final part, I know I'm not gonna play this game anytime soon, so chatting with a friend, he told me how the final part of the story unravels. And I have to say, it's a strange decision. I mean, it's a brave decision, and sometimes strong narrative decisions can be good.
No, but it doesn't look like a strong narrative. This looks like we need to finish the game, we need to release it, finish. Like, it doesn't look like strong narrative. Not at all. That's bullshit. Like, it's really about the game. We need to sell the game, and period. So it's a damn shame. And for me, it's the end of the Final Fantasy saga, especially on release date, because maybe this is the last game I bought on release date, and I'm not gonna buy any more. Because when you spend 35 quid, 40 quid for a game that is released and the ending is crap, it's like, okay, maybe I should have waited. Reviews, like, for instance, Death Stranding or stuff like that, I'm waiting until the price goes down, because it's ridiculous. To me, it's ridiculous to release a game like that. And I stop here.
Okay, that's cool.
One thing I want to say about this game, I loved how if you didn't put gasoline in your car, you just had to push it to the next gas station.
Really? Okay, that's cool.
And it's sorry for the spoiler.
That's fine.
And it's a thing that I used to do when I was young and broke. Like, I would never put gasoline into my bike. Yeah. And I would always had to push it to the gas station. And truthful to my youth, so I enjoyed it.
That was very, very realistic.
Yeah, for me, see.
I mean, I can totally imagine how they've tried to put so much production value into the game, this massive world, there's many possibilities, possibly a lot of voice lines, a lot of characters to manage. And then they probably ran out of time because they realized, my God, this game is never going to come out. And I'm sure that it had some sort of influence. If Prosil is saying that it feels rushed, I guess it's probably was rushed. And for what I've heard and what I've been told, maybe it's been cut short at the very end. But what has happened, in fact, has been that the game was followed with a dotted line of DLCs along the line. So there were a lot of DLCs. So probably those were supposed to kind of compound the story together and provide more background, provide more stuff, more meat to attach to the bones of the game. And in the end, it was so much stuff that more recently they even cancelled some of those planned DLCs. And the last of the DLC, of the story-based DLC, it was actually some of them were actually cancelled now due to structural changes inside Square Enix. And what has happened to some of them is that they have been turned into a visual novel. Not a visual novel, sorry, an actual kind of drawn, illustrated novel, which has come out in Japan and is probably coming out in Europe at some point. Yeah, that was when the PC version came out, there were already some DLCs, Claudulus, Prompto, and Ignis, which came out before the release of the PC version, and there you go. So I guess that they were trying to remedy the situation with some DLC to kind of, I guess, explore more the line, but I don't know.
I mean, it was already a problematic development. We know it's a fact. It was never coming out. They had to.
I mean, the development began. Yeah. There you go. Development began in 2006.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
how much was that? Like 9 years, 10 years? How much?
That's 12 years.
12 years for developing a video game.
Yeah, 12 years. But
I mean, 5 years sometimes it's reasonable. 6, 7.
5 years is the norm.
Yeah,
realistically, it's the norm for a AAA title because you have pre-production and about 5 years of pre-production and production, and then. But at the time, it probably wasn't like that. And what has happened is that they came out with a project, and then as early as 2017, the project scale prompted talks of rebranding it, and then blah blah blah. Yeah. What has happened is that they had a plan, and then they had to convert it to the new generation of consoles. They wasted time, and then they realized, oh, you know what? We should have our own engine, and they decided to build a whole engine, Luminous Studio, to develop this multi-platform games that they wanted to develop for this generation that is finishing now. They didn't really use it, and in fact, for Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think they're not even using this engine that they spent so much time building. But
that's
instead,
bad.
They're gonna go for some probably Unreal Engine anyway. So it's pretty crazy.
Somebody's gonna get fired.
Yeah, we're gonna talk, I'm sure, about Final Fantasy 15 and their transition to Final Fantasy 7 in the future again. Is there anything else, guys, that we want to add on our Final Fantasy 15 moment? Prosil?
I think I would add that I would like to replay it nowadays and see how it feels.
Really? That's cool.
Oh, you can stream it.
Yeah, I think I'll stream it and I'll replay it. Probably either replay it from the start or maybe do some side quests.
I mean, the game looks really incredible. I'm sure that PC version is the way to go. Especially because, as Mick was saying, it runs really perfectly.
It's amazing.
You know what's a pity? Like, the characters, to me, even though they are kind of emo-ish, they are very well written. So I think each character is very well written.
Yep.
So probably better than any other Final Fantasies apart from the 7th. Also, Squall, I didn't mind it, but these ones are more solid, especially the main character. And it's a pity, like to me it's a waste.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the final, the ending, it ruins everything. So even if the game was 10 out of 10, with ending like this, you're going, if you're lucky, for 5 or 6, like no more than that. 6 because I enjoyed the game overall. But
are they attacking Metal Gear here or something?
Yeah, it kind of looks like
Metal Gear. Anyway.
What I loved was the cooking. Like, you know how much I love cooking, and the game has a complete, sub game about cooking that I really found mind-blowingly good.
All right, cool.
Nice.
Okay, guys, I guess this can wrap up our first segment of this episode, and after this, we're gonna look at our little interesting articles that I've picked for us to review and go over in our second segment. Is that okay?